What? How have you not had a bagel? Jay, you asked those other people who seem to think that our videos are interesting enough that they are worth the 0.2% of their day that they take up. And yes, 0.2, which I found by figuring out that there are 1,440 minutes in a day, and each of our videos is on average about 3 minutes long. You just find what percentage that is of 1,440, and it turned out to be 0.2%. Sorry, NJMLV, I know it's not trig, but that's about all the math you're gonna get in this video. Point is, Jay, you asked these other people what they thought we could still teach them. And that's a pretty tall order unless you want to know all about my favorite Tanganyikan cichlid, the multifasciatus, which, do not even begin to argue with me, is the coolest African shell dweller. We'll save that for another day. But I seriously wanted to know what people said because the answer to that question is like pure freaking gold in the video idea world. So I started reading through your comments from yesterday's video and I found myself making all these little remarks in response to what people said. So, EJM Wise, a man with few words when it comes to comments, stated that he had never had a bagel before. I said a man, but I don't actually know if EJM Wise is a guy or a girl. Honestly, if I don't know, I just have a tendency to assign genders to your screen names. But where do you live that you've never had a bagel? I don't know, I guess it just seems so weird because the bagel is like such a non-intimidating food in general. It's not like, hey, you've never had calamari, that's ridiculous. I mean, when it really comes down to it, a bagel is just like glorified toast anyway. Although EJM Wise, in your defense, you were not the only person who said that, but still. Explain yourself. Moving on. Vlogger Will, you suggested something called Moustache March. Oh, such a bad idea. I mean, Jay, I don't know, what do you think? I mean, if we actually wanted to get huge, I feel like that this is something that we could actually do because it would be so unbelievably humiliating that word of mouth would just spread like crazy. Like, hey, have you seen these ridiculous guys that have like the weirdest mustaches in the world vlogging? I mean, like the 1.5 times in my life where I was like, hey, facial hair. That's a thing. Well, it wasn't. Although, fun fact, for some reason, I have a red beard. So, Vlogger Will, your suggestion, while appreciated, may go overlooked. Hey, you should do it. It would be fun. There were a couple of you that asked if I would actually talk about fish more, which I have to say I'm a little bit proud of myself for not talking about fish more. Because in college, I would almost always use fish as like the object of all of my projects because I always thought it was so interesting. And I went to a fairly small college where like once I got into the higher level classes, I basically was in the same class with the same people all the time. So I started to feel like they all knew me as like the fish guy. But the funny thing is that like I say fish as like what I do because I feel like that's what people can like understand when I say that I do aquariums for a living. But the thing that really fascinates me about it all is the coral. So tune in Friday to find out why. And finally a comment from Finnegan. Jay, McFinnegan wants to know what's behind your door. And you know what, Jay? I feel like we should just come clean. Maybe they can help. What's behind the door is